The Oklahoma Department of Education is considering new proposals to restrict what's available at Oklahoma school libraries. Today, a public hearing for concerned parents and even students. If the rule is adopted, it would prohibit school libraries from making what is claimed to be pornographic materials or sexualized content available to minors. However, the definitions of what would be banned are vague and left up to interpretation. School districts would have to send a list of all books to the Department of Education each year, which would then determine what is allowed in the libraries and what isn't.
Without the books that we consume, you are going to see a steady decline.
You wouldn't want your kids to go to a R-rated movie without your approval. So why would children have access to these books in the school school libraries?
If a school does not comply with the rule, it could lose its accreditation. The public comments will be reviewed by the State Board of Education and will move to the legislature and governor if adopted. The board also took comments on a proposed rule that would allow parents to object to sex education. It would task schools with giving parents a written outline of what will be taught and the ability to object to any of it. If there is an objection, teachers would have to teach around the subject without excluding the student. The rule also contains a second requirement, forcing schools to tell parents if a child starts to question their sexuality or gender identity. News 4's Kaitor K has more from the hearing today. Kaitor?
So the hearing was mostly filled with people who were against the proposed rule, who believe sharing that information will put more children at risk.
Requiring school employees, including counselors, to categorically out students who question their gender identity is a serious violation of student privacy.
An outpouring of opposition to a proposed Oklahoma State Department of Education rule, one that would give parents the right to inspect sex and sexuality education material and opt out their children if they don't like it. The rule would also require school districts to inform parents of a child's developmental changes, including identity information, within 30 days of learning the info. Many opponents at Friday's hearing say this would put children in serious harm at school and at home.
I'll never forget seeing the blood on the floor, finding out whose blood it was, and knowing just exactly why someone tried to hurt him.
I was outed to my family while I was in high school. I did not make that choice, and I was outed in my identity, and I was homeless for the last year of my high school experience. I had no support from my family.
But those in support believe parental authority is a fundamental right and assert that it's parents, not schools, that have to live with the consequences of their child's decisions.
Keeping parents out of the loop with something so impactful in a child's future as changing their sex or questioning their gender is not only a disrespect, it's purposefully destroying and discrediting the family bond.
The State Board of Education expects to vote on the proposed rule at their next meeting on March 23rd.